Could you get any more beautiful of a day?
Every new and full moon, I take you into nature to spend some peaceful time close to the elements.
Ponderosas are like bonsais on a massive scale,
Where I tap into some advice for you, using the timeless wisdom of tarot cards. Pick your reading now. Listen to your reading. Think about what you want. Set one intention. And I'll see you here in 1 week for the half moon check-in. We'll use a special no-nonsense deck of cards called the Lenormand deck for strategies to help you stick to any new or full moon intentions you make today.
Hello, Pile 1. Welcome to your reading. This is a bit of a melancholy tale today. I feel you, and I want to hold you in any grief that you might be feeling. This reading speaks of some loss, possibly a separation from someone, and it really is about a period of sacred grief. It's about a period of it's not time to move on, that an end that has some pain and loss to it has happened. I feel like it's pretty recent, and it feels like I feel a lot of frenetic energy coming from you in that you would like to move on. You would like to take action. You would like to feel inspired. And I have to tell you that for the next 2 weeks, it's not the moment. So from this Leo full moon to the next new moon, I want you to take some time and some space and honor and sit with your feelings. I don't feel like anybody is at fault here. I can feel your great disappointment, and I'm sure something painful happened, but I think the most painful thing that's happening is kind of a shattering of some illusions you had about a person or a situation that was very dear to you. And these are very fresh. And it's the illusion itself shattering that is the most painful thing. And that's normal, especially if this is concerning any kind of romantic love or really close friendship with someone else. This is about, I would say, a one-on-one relationship with someone. So when a death of a relationship like that happens, sometimes we feel like, oh, we can never feel those feelings again, or we can never get that perfect situation back, that situation we thought was perfect. But in the end, what we have to realize is that that love that we felt always belongs to us. That means we can always feel it again. It really isn't the other person. They're kind of a trigger, they're a spark, but really it's your capacity for love, which is why you are feeling so much right now. Grief is the other side of love. Grief meant you really did have big feelings. So honor the fact that you have such a capacity to feel and such a capacity to love, because that means it can come again. Having said that, I have to say, I think this was for the wrong person. I think you had rose-colored glasses. I'm not sure, I'm not seeing that they particularly did anything particularly bad. I just think they're not what you thought they were, and they're not right for you. But they were very shiny to you, I see that. You really, really wanted this. It looked beautiful in your mind's eye, but in real life, it didn't turn out to be as beautiful as your vision. I also see you struggling against this period of grief. I think this is difficult for you to sit still. So at the bottom of your reading, I see the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is always an enforced time of stillness to the point of total frustration, like way beyond the amount of time we would like to be stuck in something. But I'm afraid you need to be stuck in your feelings. You need to feel them all the way if you really want to rise again. And the theme of your reading was moved by the call. So I would say, this isn't over, this period of sacred grief around what you've lost, until you really feel moved inside again. It has to be a real call. It can't be a fake it till you make it. There is a place for that sometimes, but I'm not feeling it in this case. In this case, you need something really genuine to get you out of this period of mourning and stagnation. I'm a little worried that you're not going to take this advice, because the final card of your reading is the Five of Swords. And what I would say is that if there's any leftover disagreement or uncomfortableness with this person, from which I believe you've had a split of some kind, you need to put down your sword. You need to put down your weapons. There's going to be nothing gained. I don't feel like you can get satisfaction from talking to this person. Now, I'm not sure that this is a no contact situation forever, but it's definitely a no contact situation for now. They're not going to understand your feelings, and so you're just going to be triggered and probably be angry and probably just have conflict. And that kind of a conversation isn't going to get you anywhere in the predicament you're in. You really need a cocoon. You really need to learn how to soothe yourself in this moment. Honestly, I don't even see community and friendship. I think this is a solo inside job for you. I think it's a place where you need to learn to forgive yourself. You need to not be harsh with yourself. So I think that Five of Swords at the end of this reading kind of talks to some self-talk that you can have in your head. And if you can, the next 2 weeks, practice being nice to yourself. Now, how can you do that? It's called reparenting. The easiest way is to talk to yourself as though you were a friend. In fact, recently, I told someone to record themselves talking shit and then re-listen to it as though they were a friend. And what advice would they give that friend? What loving, soothing, comforting advice? I don't feel like anyone else can do this for you right now. I think this is your opportunity to do it for yourself. And that you could come out of this period being more of a friend to yourself than you've ever been before. And what incredible things could come of that. When we treat ourselves really well, we expect to be really treated well by the outside world. And then you'll be able to invite someone genuine into your life who can really share your life with you the way you wanted this to work. You can actually find that, and you can have it be authentic. So please take the next 2 weeks to be as kind to yourself as possible, to practice some of what I've said, to find a way to cocoon, to not engage with this person. Try to be no contact with whatever conflict situation you have going on for 2 weeks. Just give it 2 weeks, and I bet your energy will have shifted by the end of it. Good luck. Hello, Pile 2, and welcome to your reading. I actually think that this reading is a continuation of a story from 2 weeks ago. So if you feel called to pick a pile from 2 weeks ago, you can go back and watch. So in that story, it was a story of somebody at work who was a mediator between other people who were causing a lot of conflict. Mistakes were made, it cost money, it cost time and effort, and people wanted to put the blame on someone else, and you were stuck being very professional and having to mediate that. So for maybe some of you, this is a continuing story. For others, we can look at it as a fresh moment in time. So I'll read to you the theme of your reading, which is about trust in the spring that follows winter. And what's interesting is I don't look at these cards until I sit down in the spot and have already chosen it. And I chose this spot because You can't see it, but I'll show it to you. There's this incredible bunch of melting icicles in this warm bowl of rock. So it really does feel like it could be the spring after winter. So I feel like the universe is giving you a double message here to trust. Put your faith in the light and believe that good things can happen and will happen. We don't need to deny darkness, but nor do we need to place our minds there. There are lighter dwelling places into which our minds can settle. Trust in the spring that follows winter. So I think you've hit a bit of a winter patch. I think in a workplace or in a collaboration with other people. And I think it's about a clash of vision, particularly. I think that you don't share values with the people that are causing you some of this kerfuffle. And I think you're sad about that because I think you're coming to realize that you can't stay, that you have to go. I know that you're ready to go. I know that you're perched. I think you just need a little more courage to actually take the step. I also think that you're feeling some attachment to leaving this particular project, collaboration, or workplace. And it makes sense. I think that it wasn't a trivial thing. I think important shifts happened for you here. I think important skills were learned. And it's kind of a big deal for you to move on. It's taking a big step. But honestly, looking at your oracle card and the theme of this reading, you are very ready for that step. And I see migrating animals all through this. I see movement forward all through this reading. I see it in your oracle card. I see it, there's sheep in your oracle card who are migrating through the snow, and you're the shepherd. And I see deer leaping through the air in the final card, which is the world card. One of my favorite depictions of the world card comes in this deck. But I do see in your near future card, I see the chariot reversed. The chariot is also a card of forward movement. And it's also a major arcana card, which means this is a big, important shift that you are ready and I think will take. I think you're just being a little hesitant because the vision isn't 100% clear. At the bottom of your reading, which is the foundation card of why this situation is happening for you right now, I see the Seven of Cups, which is a very visionary card in this deck. Seven of Cups in some other decks can be about having disillusion, not being completely clear, not seeing clearly, and maybe being tempted by things that aren't the best for you. But in this deck, I find it tends to have a much more positive meaning about creativity and being a visionary. And I think you really wish that these people were on board. I don't think these people are all bad, but I think you're just not on the same page with them anymore, and that makes you sad. You see a way that this situation could work. You see that these two people don't have to be at odds. I mean, it could be more than two people, but I'm focusing on two because in the tarot, when there's disagreement, they tend to have two people. And in this justice card, there are two people arguing, and you are the mediator in the middle. You see a way forward when they can't, and that pains you. It also frustrates you. But I actually see you keeping a lot of this to yourself. I think, as in a reading 2 weeks ago, you're very professional and you know how to maintain that professionalness. You're not losing your cool, but there are people around you losing their cool. I really see with the Devil card that you really do disagree with their sensibilities. I think it's really a values issue. I think that there were mistakes made and you could see ways to streamline the process and make it more efficient, and maybe those mistakes could have been avoided, but ultimately I don't think this particular conflict is why you're leaving. I think it's because you're just coming to understand that you really need to share values with the people that you work with. Otherwise you're drained. Otherwise, why are you there? Why are you giving away 8 hours of your time to this place when there isn't enough meaning for you in it? So actually, I see a meaning piece. I think you're in search of meaning because you're tired of workplaces that just deplete you. And I say you're going to find it because the final card of your reading is the World card. The World card is about achieving a goal. It's about a big ending and a big beginning at the same time. So I would say that it's time. If you've been thinking about the leap, this is a message to say it's time. Take that leap. Start applying to other positions. Start looking around for other collaborations. I don't think you're going to leave. So you are going to leave, but I don't think you have to lose any of the friendships and connections that you've made during this collaboration and this project. I think you can stay connected, and ultimately you'll have a better relationship with these people that you've collaborated with than if you stayed as part of a team with them. I know that it's sad to break the team. I know that at one point it looked like you guys could really make it work. You really wanted it to work, and actually you saw a lot of things to love in that collaboration. Like this, you weren't mistaken about that. That was totally possible, and or that was the case at one time. But that time has passed. And if you stay where you are any longer, it's going to drain you. It's going to drain your essential energy, and it'll be harder to take that leap. So there's something about cultivating faith, trust, that there's something good out there for you in the world, and that you can find it. Perhaps you just need to take a little rest so that you have the energy to pursue it, because I see in this reading that you do have to go searching, particularly with this shepherd in your oracle card. You need to shepherd your own interests to a new lush field of grass. And given that the oracle is talking about spring that follows winter, and I'm watching the slow drip of these icicles here in this incredibly warm and brilliant sunshine that I'm enjoying right now, and that I hope you're enjoying too. It's going to take a little trust. It's going to take a little bit of searching. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I can tell that you're going to find it. So please go looking. Hello, Pile 3, and welcome to your reading. I really wanted to set up to have the shining lake behind me for you. And I knew that that meant that I would be backlit, and probably you can't see me that well. But what's interesting is when I looked at your reading, this is a theme about not being comfortable in our body, in the physical body, or the meat sack, as one of my favorite astrologers, Jessica Lanyadoo, calls it. Grosses out some people, but personally I think it's great. So let's talk about your body. We'll start with the theme of your reading. It's titled, Love Your Body and Live Your Dreams. I want you to experience all that life has to offer. I want you to see your dreams. See them coming alive in the world. When you love the sacred soul animal of your body, as I love you, then you will manifest all that is divinely meant for you and thrive. These oracle cards are about divine love. I think of them as my reparenting deck. So I grabbed them today. I don't always bring them out. They're just for special times, and I'm thinking that all of us this moon need some reparenting, need some comfort, need to know that somebody bigger than us loves us. So when I look at the heart of your reading, I see the 2 of Cups reversed, I see the 9 of Coins reversed, and they're being crossed by the King of Swords. And since this is a discussion between you and your body and what you think of your body and how you feel in your body, I'd say you don't want to look at it. I'd say you wish it was more Instagram worthy. I'd say you pick yourself apart. I'd say you'd like to optimize it. You'd like it to fit a package. You'd like it to be more spectacular. I think you might feel a little invisible unless you optimize yourself in some way physically. Now I've seen all the cards. I'm not entirely sure why you have an argument with your body. For some people, they have chronic ailments. And so not always feeling like friends with their bodies makes sense. But in your case, I feel this is a criticality that's coming from your thinking. I think it's a bit obsessive. I think you've seen something you want and you want to put in whatever it takes to get it. I almost feel like this is the reading of someone with adrenal fatigue. I feel like you've been pushing yourself too far and that you're burnt out and that you can't see what you have already and you don't see yourself clearly. I think you look at others, people you think have success and visibility and love and belonging, and perhaps make more money or have shinier lives in some way. And you think, well, if I get that body, I can have that life. And the truth is, it will never be enough.
RANT.
I remember I used to go to hot yoga years ago. And there was a hierarchy in that room. There were mirrors at the front. There was a first line of people who did the poses to their maximum, who had the body shapes and sizes that everything in the media said we should all strive to be. And then the next row back was people who were intermediate at the poses, but also had intermediate shapes and sizes compared to the people in the front. And then the people in the back behind that were people who wanted to be even less seen because they felt perhaps they could do the poses less or their bodies didn't fit a certain mold. And I remember working myself to the bone to want to be in the front, but the actual insight I had is that the people in the front were born into those shapes and sizes more than anything else. They were already genetically shaped to be what the media wants them to be. And they didn't have to work that hard. They were born with it. And the people in the rows behind them, they could work as hard as they want. Their body shape and size was never going to fit what was in the first row. It didn't matter how much they worked. They were going to work themselves into the ground and always feel less than. Why would you always want to feel less than? Why would you always feel like you have to work harder just to get what you already deserve by being born and just being here, earthside? I'm afraid I don't see a lot of rest in this reading. I think you're meant to come to this reading to notice how critical you might be of yourself, how mean you might be to yourself inside, how you never rest, how you never give yourself a break, how you just keep pushing. I see the Eight of Cups with a person doing endless amounts of dishes. I see the Knight of Blades. In this case, it's a hairdresser giving someone a haircut they don't want. I see the Seven of Coins, which is someone who is always trying to optimize, always trying to figure out how to fix themselves, how to fix a situation. And the reading ends with the Five of Wands, which can be playful, but in this case, it's not. It's a tug of war with your real self, with your real body, with what's calling out inside of you for rest, for acceptance, for self-love. Now, these aren't easy things to get to. I went on a journey myself. And there are a lot of resources, which I'll put in the description box below for anybody who's interested, where you can start to question why you want very specific ways of being for your body, why you want your body to look and function like everybody else's body. That's not actually a thing in the world. There's endless variety in the human animal, and that's meant to be. That's called biological resilience. If we were all the same and one catastrophe came along, we would all disappear, just like that, poof. But the media of today is tricky. It tells us that we think we know better than ever before how a human body should function and how to optimize it and how to fix it. But honestly, I come from the biological research world, and it's very complicated, and we know very little, and we tend to only know one little piece of an entire system. that is the body, a holistic system. So we tinker with one little part and we can't even measure all the other ill effects that we do by trying to over-optimize one part. And maybe that's cutting out entire food groups, or maybe that's lifting weights one particular way that we've decided right now we know the best way to lift weights. But if you look back in history over the last bunch of decades, every decade thought it knew the ultimate answer to perfect human health, to perfect human functioning, to the perfect human that everybody should aspire to be and everybody should aspire to date. It just keeps changing. The goalposts just keep changing. So let me ask you to consider this over these next 2 weeks until the next moon. Love your body and live your dreams. Then you will manifest all that is divinely meant for you. The problem is when we're trying to optimize ourselves, we're trying to not be ourselves. We're trying to be somebody else that we just aren't. And so all of our interactions and our goals and our actions, they don't come from a genuine place that can be nurtured and thrive over time. It just depletes us. And we're living a fake life, making fake relationships and fake goals and taking fake actions. And it leads to hollowness. It doesn't lead to thriving. It doesn't lead to things that organically grow. I want you to blossom. I don't want you to be perfect. I want you to have peace more than outside validation. I don't see peace in this reading, I'm afraid. I see the Nine of Wands, which is a veteran of the wars, limping, putting themselves back together. They look kind of damaged by what they've seen. And you know, we can be damaged by what we look at on social media. Now, I have a very strong point of view on these matters. Back in 2016, I joined the anti-diet movement. I quit dieting. I quit controlling what I eat. I quit exercising in order to achieve a certain shape of my body. And it took many years to be at peace. But it's like leaving the matrix. Once you really see it, you can never unsee it. Now, if you've made it this far in this reading, thank you for listening to me rant. I don't see this point of view getting fixed for you in the next 2 weeks, but maybe you're seeing this for a reason. Maybe you can take this 2 weeks to think critically about why you want some of the things you want your body to be. You can start with, because when I exercise 1 hour, 6 days a week, I feel better and I feel vibrant. But that's just a surface response. Think about it more. Think, why do I feel vibrant? And then you'll have more thoughts come to mind. Some of it could be rhetoric from the outside world. Try to notice what has come from the outside versus you. Now, it's totally true that exercise is good for us, but a certain kind of exercise, peaceful exercise, joyful, one that doesn't make our body ache constantly, one that doesn't try to put everybody into the same positions because anatomically we're all different. So maybe take these 2 weeks to think critically and just keep asking yourself why. And just don't stop at one why. Try 4, try 6 whys. If you have the time and energy, try 10 whys. Try to get to the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of why you're pursuing a certain perfection with a certain set of habits that is exhausting you. Because I see your body is exhausted, and maybe your mind is too. And when you have an exhausted body and an exhausted mind, it's tough to dream. It's tough to manifest dreams because we're spending all of our thoughts and time and energy on chasing goals that are outside of us, that don't come from us, that are going to end up hollow. So what can I leave you with? Because this is a tough reading, and I'm saying tough things. If you're still with me at this point, thank you. Thank you for letting me rant. I have a very strong point of view on this. But there's a reason that I come to nature and I show you nature. And all of us spending time in nature understand this. Everything in nature is perfect as it is. It's living, it's perfection that's been shaped by evolution over thousands and thousands of eons. And we're part of that too. So maybe you're here at this reading just to sit with these uncomfortable, critical thoughts that I offer you to think about. Maybe you're just here today to consider that there might be a different way to love yourself and to love your body.